Hi, I'm Christian Dye. This is Newman Jet Coaching Corner. We're here with Don Farquhar, the women's golf coach, and we're going to talk a little bit about how the season's going so far. So, Coach, you guys are fresh off of 2 victories in your first 2 tournaments. Talk a little bit about how the season's going so far.
Great, thanks, Christian. Yeah, we've done great. First 2 tournaments out of the box, we've posted victories, and I couldn't be happier. My expectations are always high, but this really kind of exceeded my expectations.
Certainly a good way to start.
Yes, couldn't be better. Obviously, you can't win them all unless you win the first 2. So, yeah, it was really good. We just got back last night and won the Lady Buff Stampede, I believe it was, by 14 shots, and had shot 2 school records, one for the first round and one for a total.
Great.
So it was, it was a fantastic finish, and we look forward to next week. We travel again next week, and we're looking forward to it.
Awesome. As you mentioned, you guys are 2-0 so far in tournaments this season. What are your goals for the rest of the fall season?
For the rest of the fall season, I hope that we can finish strong in our last 2 events. Next week is a very strong field. There's 17 teams in there, and quite a few of our regional foes are in there. So it would be nice to have a strong finish in that one. And then I would like to finish the season on a good note when we go to Cameron, playing the Cameron Invitational. But it would, it sounds crazy, but I'd like to maybe squeeze in one more victory out of those 2. I think that would be a very doable thing for us.
All right.
And it'd be a great way to go into the holiday break before we come back for the championship segment in the spring.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, Coach, is there any kind of strength and conditioning program the girls are on to keep them in shape?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We've been doing strength and conditioning since I started at Newman, almost 10 years ago.
Okay.
So we this year we changed it up just a little bit, and we work out 2 days a week, Monday and Wednesday morning at 6 a.m.
Bright and early.
Yeah, bright and early. Used to be we were the only ones in the gym at that point, and now there's probably 4 or 5 teams in the gym at 6 a.m. But we do conditioning on Monday and Wednesdays. We do a lot of core work, a lot of cardio work right now. Once the season finishes in October, or probably the end of October, then we'll start with some weight training 3 days a week. We've added a Pilates class on Thursdays this year, so we took out 1 day of conditioning and put in a Pilates course. The girls seem to really like that a little bit than me working them out in the mornings. But yeah, it's been very beneficial to us, and not only are the girls in better shape, but I think they're a little bit better mentally as well.
That's good. It certainly seems to have been paying off so far.
Yes, and I think it has over the last few years, the last several years. The girls really, believe it or not, they really enjoy it. They might not enjoy the 6 a.m. portion of it, but when we don't get to work out, they tell me that they wish they had worked out that day. So yeah, it's been very good for us, and we're going to continue that going forward.
All right, that's good. Kendall Anderson is definitely an integral part of our team. She's the captain and a returning academic All-American. How has she improved since her freshman year, and how does she affect the dynamic of our team?
Oh, Kendall's great. I can't say enough good things about Kendall. She's a wonderful girl, and she's very intelligent, obviously. She's a Cardinal Newman scholar. Right. Been a Cardinal Newman for all 4 years since she's been here. She has a 4.0 grade point. She's obviously the leader of our team in more ways than one. She's struggling just a little bit with her game this year. It's still not quite up to her standards, but it's great for what the team needs. And Kendall hasn't her game hasn't improved dynamically since she's been here, but she's improved physically. She is much stronger than she used to be. Okay. Her stamina is much greater, and her mental capacity on the golf course is much tougher than it used to be. She still strikes the ball as well as she ever had, and she continues to do that, but she's mentally tough, very tough on the golf course, and she doesn't let things affect her like she used to.
And certainly that's what you want out of a captain.
Oh, no doubt. And she is, she's a leader with whatever she does. She organizes things for the kids off course to do, and she's kind of the leader in all the off course activities. But she obviously works the hardest both in the weight room and on the track and on the golf course. So she leads by example.
That's
and she's
definitely good to hear.
Yeah, I couldn't ask for anything more from Kendall. She is a class act, and she will be successful in whatever she chooses to do.
It's good to hear. Courtney Zietzman, another one of our returners, is in her 3rd year at Newman and just made her first place finish this weekend at West Texas.
Correct.
How has she improved since her freshman year?
Courtney's gotten better every year,
Mm-hmm.
and Courtney has always had the physical skills to play golf at a high level,
Right.
and she hits the ball further than any woman that I've ever seen. And in the past few years, that's kind of hurt her a little bit. She was more into the
distance.
seeing how far she could hit, and the distance, obviously, as a lot of players are.
Right.
But this year, over the off season, she revamped her game a little bit, and she's gone away from that power game
Right.
into more of a finesse game, and she's much stronger from tee to green, believe it or not, even though she might not be as long as she once
Right.
was, and it's showing up in her scores. Her putting has improved tremendously. We made a change in her putting before the first event, and that's paid dividends for her in the first two events. But she's she must have lowered her stroke average 3 or 4 shots from
That's
where it was
great,
last
yeah.
year. She was always a little bit up and down in the past. She'd have a good round, then she'd have a bad round, and her consistency this year is much better. And she is a big part of why we've won those first
That's
two events.
definitely great to hear.
Yeah.
Who were some of the new girls we brought in this year? I know we brought in a lot of foreign girls. So who among them do you think will be influential to our team's success this year?
We have 2 new girls on the roster
Mhm.
this year. They both are international players. Josie Jenkins is from England, just outside of London. She comes to us from Seminole State. She's a transfer student, so she's a junior. And Julie Bernard is a freshman from Brussels, Belgium. Yes, and both those girls are very good players. Julie has played in both the events. Josie has only played in the West Texas event. Julie is a very strong player from tee to green, and although she will tell you that her putting is not very good, she is an excellent putter as well. And they've both been better than I thought they were going to be this early in the season. I knew they were good players when I was recruiting them.
Right.
Obviously, we wouldn't have been talking to
Bringing
them
them over here, yeah.
But with international players, you never really know what you're getting because you can't go and recruit them and see them
Exactly.
up close and,
Yeah.
and personal. So it's always a little bit of a risk there. But both of them have been very good players, and they've been, like I said, a little bit better early on in the season than I expected them
That's
to be.
certainly a nice
We're a
surprise.
little bit further ahead in their development than a lot of freshmen would be at this point, or a lot of newcomers
Yeah,
would be at this point.
definitely a nice surprise there.
Oh yes, and they fit in well with the rest of the girls on the team. We have 6 returning
Right.
players,
That's a good
and
core.
so the 2 newcomers are getting along nicely with the returners. So that's always nice with me
Definitely.
and they're so competitive from top to bottom, from 1 through 8.
Mhm.
They're all now pushing each other quite a bit harder
That's definitely
in
good.
practice and in qualifying. So it makes things tougher, but it makes us better as a team in the long run. That's what we're all looking for, is to get better. So they all understand that, and they all understand their roles, and they're all working hard to make that traveling squad.
That's good. The team we have this year consists of 3 American girls and 5 international players. Has that always kind of been the balance you've strode for in the past?
Not always. Sometimes it's a little heavier international. Sometimes it's a little heavier American. But it all started when we went to Division II, and we needed to upgrade our roster and bring in some more players and some better athletes. And I have a tendency to look for the best athlete no matter where they are. And not only am I looking for good athletes, I'm looking for good students.
Of course.
And so I want the students to have good grades, good test scores, so we can maximize their scholarships. But I want them to be able to come in and help the team as well. So I do look worldwide. We do a lot of work with some recruiting websites, that are on the internet.
Right.
And so we do a lot from Europe, and we do a little bit from South Africa, a little bit from South America. Those girls are all looking for a place to play because they have no place to play
Over there.
competitive golf
Yeah.
over there as a team. And so once they're done with high school and move on to university, their golf is really pretty much done unless it's on an amateur level and
Yeah.
individual. And this way they come over here and they get an education, they get a chance to play competitive golf in a team
There you go.
atmosphere, and they're very hungry for it. So they're dedicated, and they work really hard at doing that. But basically, I'm just looking for the best athlete and the best fit that's going to come in to help us with the program and
Right.
move forward with the program. And this year there happens to be 5 internationals and 3 Americans. And I'm recruiting both probably for 2 spots for next year to come in, and there's some internationals in the mix, and there's some Americans still in the mix, and we'll just have to see who the best fit is.
Right.
You know, obviously with our program doing better now, it's going to make recruiting a little bit easier for me. I'll be able to be a little bit more picky and who I can bring in.
Of course.
And you know, I think that's gonna really help us move forward as well. So, bottom line is, I don't care where they come from. As long as they're good students and they're a good fit to the team and they can play, then I'm good with them.
All right. So this weekend you guys travel down to Dallas. What kind of expectations do you have for this tournament?
This is a big tournament for us, Christian, obviously. And Dallas Baptist is hosting the event. There's 17 teams in this event. A lot of our competitors from the Western Regional will be there, as well as the conference. We're going to play at the Golf Club of Dallas, which is good for us because a couple of our girls have played there in the past. We had a conference there a few years ago, so Kendall and Courtney both have experience on the golf course. So I expect them to show up and be ready to play and put forth their best effort, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And going forward, their confidence obviously is very high, and we're going to work hard for the rest of the week before we go down there. But you know, all I can ask is they go down there and play as hard as they can, and we'll add them up at the end and see where we fall.
There you go. And finally, what sort of expectations do you have as we head towards the off season and then towards the championship segment of the season in the spring?
Well, our season ends at Cameron. Our non-championship season ends in Cameron in October. We'll work hard during the off season at conditioning and workouts and do some individual stuff and get ready before we go to the spring break holiday. When they return, we're going to get started right away, headed to San Antonio to play early on.
Okay.
So I really expect us to do well going forward, and basically my expectations are the same as they are every year with the team, is that we're going to play well enough to be ranked very high in the region, so that we're going to go to super regionals.
There you go.
And then with this team, I fully expect them to play well enough to get to nationals.
All right.
And I know those are lofty expectations, and some coaches don't like to verbalize those, but my girls all know that those are my expectations, and they've all bought in, and we're all on the same page, and they're all willing to work as hard as it takes to get us there.
Certainly.
So that's where we're headed. That's what I expect.
We certainly wish you the best of luck at that. All right, well, thank you, Coach. Once again, I'm Christian Dye. This is Coach Don Farquhar with Women's Golf. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.